Imagine waking up at 4:59 in the morning to the thick, suffocating smell of smoke. You open your eyes and the world is on fire. You are forced to flee for your life as your $2.4 million mansion burns to the ground, reducing everything you know to ash. Now, imagine you are just 10 years old and you have to watch your mother go to the press and publicly accuse your own father, one of the biggest, most dangerous rap stars on the planet, of ordering the match to be lit. Years later, that same traumatized boy goes online mocking his father's $6,700 a month child support payments as pennies. He recreates his dad's iconic photos to disrespect him and offers to pay that exact amount just to buy a single day of his billionaire father's time. This is the deeply toxic, heartbreaking reality of Curtis 50 Cent Jackson and his estranged firstborn son, Marquise. Let's uncover the dark emotional truth. To truly understand the bitter end, we have to rewind to the beautiful beginning. Before the billion-dollar television empire, the vitamin water deals, and the platinum plaques, Curtis Jackson was a man fighting for his life on the brutal streets of South Jamaica, Queens. In 1997, his girlfriend, Shaniqua Tompkins, gave birth to Marquise. For Curtis, this baby was his saving grace. He famously tattooed his infant son's name across his right bicep, a permanent reminder of his driving force to survive. When 50 Cent was notoriously shot 9 times in 2000, his immediate thought wasn't about music, it was about his boy. He wanted to give Marquise the childhood and safety he never had. When he exploded onto the scene with Get Rich or Die Trying, his wealth multiplied overnight, and he immediately secured a sprawling $2.4 million estate in Dix Hills, Long Island. He put Shaniqua and Marquise in that massive house to ensure they were miles away from the violent street politics of his past. But money only amplifies the cracks in a foundation. By 2008, the romance had mutated into a venomous, highly publicized legal war. 50 Cent was actively trying to evict Shaniqua from the Long Island mansion. And then on May 30th, 2008, the absolute unthinkable happened. In the dead of night, the Dix Hills estate erupted in flames. 6 people, including Shaniqua and a 10-year-old Marquise, were trapped inside as the fire raged. They had to be rescued from a second story deck by emergency responders, narrowly escaping with their lives before being rushed to the hospital for severe smoke inhalation. By sunrise, the multi-million-dollar home was nothing but a smoldering frame. Standing in the rubble, Shaniqua pointed the finger directly at 50 Cent. She went to the news cameras and explicitly claimed he orchestrated the arson to get them out. 50 Cent was hundreds of miles away filming a movie in Louisiana and was completely cleared by arson investigators. But the legal truth didn't matter anymore. The damage was done. A young boy had to watch his parents' toxic warfare play out on television. The seed of deep-rooted division was permanently planted in his developing mind, watered by a mother's public bitterness and fueled by a father's growing detachment. What followed was a decade of exhausting, soul-draining financial warfare. In family court, 50 Cent was ordered to pay $6,700 a month in child support. Over the years, that amounted to well over $1.3 million in pure cash. But to Shaniqua and Marquise, who were watching 50 Cent amass hundreds of millions globally, it felt like scraps. As Marquise grew into a teenager, the private family tension bled onto the public stage. 50 Cent firmly believed Shaniqua was using Marquise as a pawn, brainwashing him with a toxic sense of entitlement. 50 felt his son viewed him not as a father to be respected, but as a bank account to be tapped. When it came time for Marquise's high school graduation, 50 Cent was noticeably absent, later claiming he was intentionally blocked from attending just so the media would paint him as a deadbeat dad. The rapper, historically known for his ruthless public trolling, eventually aimed his crosshairs at his own family. In 2016, 50 Cent posted a literal countdown clock on his Instagram. He was counting down the minutes until Marquise turned 18 and the child support payments would legally end. adding a brutal hashtag telling Shaniqua to get a job. It showed a father surgically detaching his heart from his child. But the story gets much darker. In hip hop culture, loyalty is absolutely everything. Marquise committed what 50 Cent viewed as ultimate treason. A photo surfaced of Marquise happily posing next to the son of Kenneth Supreme McGriff. For those who don't know, Supreme McGriff is the notorious Queens drug lord who allegedly orchestrated the hit that resulted in 50 Cent being shot 9 times. By smiling with the son of the man who tried to murder his father, Marquise crossed an uncrossable line. It was an act of profound disrespect that went beyond family drama and entered the realm of street politics. 50 Cent responded by stating that if both of them got hit by a bus, he wouldn't have a bad day. The blood tie was completely severed. Fast forward to October 2022. The absolute breaking point arrived when a 25-year-old Marquise sat down with vlogger Choke No Joke. Looking dead into the camera, Marquise publicly complained that the $6,700 a month, roughly $81,000 a year, was completely inadequate to live in New York City. He argued that because of his father's immense fame and dangerous enemies, he needed high-level security and a specific luxury lifestyle just to stay safe. He boldly stated, "If you're not going to be there physically and emotionally, I should not want for anything." The internet exploded in rage. Working class families dragged Marquise mercilessly across social media, calling him spoiled and out of touch. But instead of apologizing or clarifying, Marquise doubled down. In a move of calculated supreme disrespect, he recreated his father's famous bankruptcy photo. Marquise took stacks of his own money, sat on the floor, and spelled out the word entitled. He then took to Instagram and offered to pay his father $6,700 just to buy 24 hours of his time. It was a desperate cry for attention disguised as a vicious taunt, speaking the only language he thought his dad understood: money. How did the man who survived the streets and built a global empire react? Not with explosive anger, but with a chilling, detached sadness. In an emotional interview with Van Lathan, 50 Cent laid bare the tragic reality of their dynamic. When asked directly, man to man, if he still loved his son, 50 Cent paused. He looked away and delivered a line that sent chills down spines. He said, "I used to." 50 explained that his son had developed an entitlement that simply could not be met. By giving Marquise everything he never had growing up, the result was a privileged child who somehow felt deeply deprived. 50 Cent realized a devastating truth. "I didn't think that success would cost me my firstborn, but it's the situation it is." He quoted his grandfather's street wisdom: "If it rattles like a snake and slithers like a snake, is it a snake or do you need to be bit?" To Curtis Jackson, the boy whose name was permanently inked into his skin to give him strength had become an enemy. He was a casualty of fame in a profoundly broken home. The story of 50 Cent and Marquise Jackson is a modern day tragedy. It proves that millions of dollars in the bank cannot buy emotional presence or heal deeply rooted trauma. Marquise grew up in the suffocating shadow of a giant, caught in the crossfire of a burnt down house and a relentless war of massive egos. And 50 Cent is a man who conquered the entire world, defeated death itself, but lost his firstborn son in the process. What do you think about this situation? Was 50 Cent justified in walking away from a toxic, entitled dynamic to protect his own peace? Or should a father never turn his back on his son, regardless of the disrespect? Let me know your honest thoughts down in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a deep dive. Thanks for watching.